is like an about the author section. So copy and paste this, use 24, that's fine. Should have really aligned the text properly before starting this, but that's life. So yeah, let's align that. This one's still not aligned. Right, cool. And then we're gonna go, then we're gonna go and just use A, drag a 1 column sized square. Give it an 8 pixel border radius, and we're going to fill it using our old friend Unsplash. So I'll just bring up Unsplash, go to portrait, and find someone who looks like they might have written a book. I think she looks like she could be an author. They all do, to be fair, but let's just add this. I don't know why it's added to. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, so we've got the author there, 20 pixels, that's all good. And then how's it actually going to look? Yeah. Okay, we can just use this again, just align it with the grid, and we can be like, what's her name? Ruth. Is it Ruth Logan? Ruth Hogan. No idea if that's true. We're going to center align it. Again, that's text. Oh, yeah, that looks pretty good. And this is going to be kind of the main content. But what we want is like a floating CTA. So I imagine there could be more content below this on the page that we're not going to design for now. But what we want to happen is that when someone's on this listing, they're always going to have prominently displayed the main CTA to download the book. So we'll just use A again, and create a container here. That accidentally sucked in the content that I didn't want. So we'll create a new frame, drag it on. Let's create a nice big one. And we're going to actually set it to the background dark that we have. But then we're going to detach it and then use linear gradient. But we actually want it reversed. So this bottom bit we want full, and this bit we want empty. So as you can see, the gradient is getting stronger towards the bottom. And this is just going to create a cool overlay effect for the button. So that you can see the button and it doesn't get lost. Then we're going to go ahead and just copy paste this button over here. I think it's too high now. I don't know why it's 45. 32. Still looks too high. I'm going to send this down to 24 pixels. And then I'm going to go over here and do the same thing just so that they match. Yeah, that looks better. And then this section, I'm just going to go ahead and call button, container, CTA. Yeah, and that's pretty cool. Author image. All right, so it's coming along. We've got the listing page, we've got the intro page, and now we just got to go ahead and do the home screen and the other library listing. Sorry that it's quite hard to speak and design at the same time. I'm going to try and figure out some better way to structure these so that they're a little bit less convoluted. But let's jump into the home screen. So let's keep it going and let's design the home screen now. So the home screen is going to just be some personalized book recommendations. It's also going to show a sort of favorite section where you're going to be able to see books that you favorited. We're just going to design above the fold. We're not going to design like the whole screen. It's just going to be the layout above the fold. So let's crack into it. And I think the first thing we're going to do, and we can go ahead and do this on both of the final screens, is just to set the background to this dark background color that we had for the first, for the book store item page. And then we're going to go ahead and create an avatar, which is going to be 36 pixels by 36 pixels. We'll give it a border radius of 4 pixels. Go ahead and create a fill. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and use the old trusty Unsplash plugin to try and find some suitable portrait image that we can use to populate the avatar. So we got this open. I feel like I'm always using the same avatar images. I really need a different tool for this. But I want something with a bit of color that just sits. This is dope. I don't know though. See if there's anything else. I like yellow. With this design, I think it could look good. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with this for now, but it still seems a little bit muted. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'll remove the background, and then I'm gonna add a 2 pixel stroke to the inside and make it white. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the layout grid just so I can get stuff aligned nicely. Let's go ahead. Make this 24 pixels out, and then we're going to add the headline for the recommendation section. So it'll be like, I don't know, discover. Sorry, I've got dodgy keyboard. And I think we can go ahead and use the same type style that we used here. So this is heading 2. We'll go ahead and just use heading 2. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll place this, I don't know, 32 pixels below the avatar. What is this? That's 24. Yeah, that's all right. And now we need some images for this section. So I'm just gonna go and find some and then pull them over. I prepared some earlier, but I'm not sure where they are. Here they are, okay. Sorry, this must be insufferably boring for people who can't see because I've got another monitor open. Let's drag these two on. Yeah, perfect. So what height are we gonna make these? We'll give them like 20 pixels space. I'm going to shift A to just create an auto layout frame for these. Call this recommendations. It's not on the frame. I don't know why. Sometimes that happens. I'm just going to try and put it back on. Yeah, and I'm going to swap it around. They still look a bit small. So it's all right though. This will do. Yeah. So you can see the fact that this is cut off a little bit indicates the affordance of swipeability. So we'll keep that there. And then we're going to go ahead and work on the favorite section. So I'm just going to close out this layout grid temporarily. Just gonna Command D to copy that. And then I think we need a smaller heading size that's going to be, I don't know, yeah, it's going to be smaller than this one. This is, I can't remember what, this is 24. So let's try 20 with this one. Yeah, that looks better. And we're going to call this your favorites. I'll give it a bit more spacing as well. Let's say 40 for this. Yeah, and we can go ahead and save this as a text style. I think this can be like our heading 3. So again, we'll just go heading / heading 3. Boom, that looks pretty cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag on a couple of images that we can use for these book covers. I'm even more inarticulate than I was earlier. I have no idea what's going on. But let's see if I can find some. So I found a couple of book covers. I'm just going to drag these on, but they are huge. I just stole these from Audible. Yeah, they're pretty jonky. So I'm going to try and get these down to a more reasonable size. So let's say these, I'm going to limit these to like 100 pixels. By the way, this little icon here constrains the proportion. So that just means that whatever modification you make to the width or height will be proportionally made to either the width or height, depending on what you're adjusting. So if you adjust if it's a square, it will maintain the shape because it's adjusting it proportionally. Damn, I should be a teacher with these concise descriptions. But yeah, again, I'm just gonna go ahead and start laying these out. Gonna use the 4-column grid again, just to get a bit of clarity. And then I think, again, we're gonna copy and paste this heading and create the title of the book. So if you guys haven't read this book, by the way, this is a really, really, really good book, Atomic Habits. This was a game changer for me in terms of helping me build regular habits. This looks big though, and again, with your headings, you want to infer a sense of hierarchy. This is obviously lower in the hierarchy than the heading. So let's go ahead and detach that. And we're gonna set this to 16 pixels instead of 20. And then we're gonna go ahead and create heading 4. I think that's gonna be, that's gonna be good. And then this one, it's just called Will, but I'm gonna call it Will Smith Biography just to see what it looks like with the longer string, and it still looks pretty good. So cool. And here I'm just gonna make sure that it's like 12 pixels from the top. So we can bring it up until we get the indicator that it's in line. Yeah, and then we're just gonna go 12 pixels down. So that's looking pretty good, but again, I'm gonna try and use these star ratings and apply these to the individual favorites. So I'm gonna copy and paste this over here. We can just bring this, we're gonna do the same thing with the 12 pixels, but just do it from the bottom this time. I have a feeling this is not, this isn't on the screen, that's what I wasn't getting. So let's try that again. Yeah. Cool, so that's looking okay, and then we're just gonna add the actual author title, and we're gonna go ahead and change the style to the body medium that we created earlier. And we're gonna go ahead and make it 4 pixels below. And this one is by James Clear, I believe. And this one is by Will Smith and Mark. That just looks bad. And Mark Manson. Mark Manson wrote, I think, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's another really great book. So this section looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and group these. That didn't work. Yeah, group this. I'm just gonna drag it out like this. So they're full width, and that looks pretty good. And then another thing I want is just a text link here that'll allow you to click through to see more options. So we'll just call this, I think, See More. And again, to sort of indicate the affordance of clickability, we're going to change it from white to this primary orangey color that we created earlier. Final thing I want to do is create a couple of icons in the top right hand corner. They're going to be like a notification icon and a more actions icon. So we're going to go ahead and open Iconify again. And let's go back to collections, go to material design, and I'm going to go, I know the names of these icons. So. Let's try more. This looks weirdly disproportionate. But yeah, that'll do. And then I'm going to go again and, oh no, it should be searching here. Search from the vanilla search icon. That'll do. Alright, cool, got them both 24 pixels. I don't want the search icon, I wanted the notification icon. What am I talking about? So let's go to Iconify. Yeah, and we'll just go for this one. Cool, and I'm actually going to place them like the other way around. So we're going to have a notification icon here, and a search icon here. Let's make sure they're 24 pixels from the top. Nice and aligned here. I don't know why I've got two icons. And then in terms of spacing, I'm going to give them like 16 apart, I think. Yeah, looks good. And they're probably popping a little bit more. So go to selection colors, and I'm going to give them this text subtle, or maybe text dark. Let's have a look without the guides on. I think text subtle is going to be better. So let's go text subtle. So that's cool. And then back here, I'm just going to swap out. Actually, I can just go to home screen and then change this to the proper shade. So cool, this is looking pretty good. And I think one thing I'm going to do is add 8 pixel radius here just to give it a bit more. Boom, yeah, that looks better. I think this is pretty good. I might just add one more element. I'm just going to add a sub description to this. So something like that, and then again swap this for body medium. Actually, I'm going to make this even smaller, so let's go 12. We'll give it the text subtle, and then we'll go ahead and create a body style from this, and we'll call it body small. Dope. And we'll give this like 4 pixels from the main headline, and then we'll give this, I don't know, 24. And then I'll probably align this like, no, I'll probably still align it. Center it off there. And why is that off? Should be 24. All right, cool. All right, so this bit is kind of coming along. Next thing we're going to jump into is the bottom nav. So we're going to create the bottom nav bar, and then we're going to create this final library book screen. So we're going to actually go ahead and create this bottom navigation menu now. But one thing I've noticed in the design is that I'm not totally happy with the spacing, so I'm going to bring both of these up 4 pixels. And these down 4 pixels. Ah! Why are these not grouped? That's weird. I don't know why these are, something must have happened. I'm just gonna regroup these quickly. Yeah, that's better. And then down 4 pixels. Actually, I can just delete that and go, let's Control C this. Yeah, boom. Yeah, that's it. That's all right. Yeah, that looks a bit better. And then I'm going to go ahead, use the Command A tool again. Let's say 66 pixels. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and just create this frame. It should be full width. It is full width, and then we're going to go ahead and set it to, let's try 16151B. It's like a darker shade of this, like midnight purple. All right, just make sure that it's 0 here. Yeah, that's better. Cool, and this shade we'll just go ahead and save this as like background BG darker. Cool, because we're probably going to be using that a bit more. And I want to create a little bit of separation actually in between the nav and the rest of the content. So I'm going to go ahead and hit L, and then just draw out this divider line, which I'll then place to the top. And then again, we'll just make it white. Let's just make sure that, yeah, we'll call this one bottom nav bar. Just do a really quick tidy up. can be recommended. And these can be top right icons. And then finally make sure that this avatar is named. So cool. And obviously we're going to need some icons to populate this menu. So again, opening the old trusty servant, Iconify. Let's go for this classic dashboard icon. Don't know where it adds it though. Where are you adding it? All the way up there. All right. Let's pull it down. And then we'll have like, I don't know, bookmark icon. That'll do. Kind of selecting these arbitrarily. If you have some strong preference for other icons, feel free to add them. But we're just basically going to add 4 icons that might be suitable for the navigational menu. We'll have the search, some global search, and then finally we're going to have, what can be the last one? Shop. I don't know. Yeah, that'll do. So we've got all those icons in there. Gonna go ahead, make sure these are lined up 24 each way and centered. So they are centered. Sorry, my computer's. I'm just realizing with the sizing, I can make it a bit more logical by giving 20 pixels spacing and just reducing the height to 64, which would be more in keeping with the 8 pixel grid anyway. Again, balls that up. And then we're going to distribute horizontally. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then for the active link, we're going to use again this primary red, and then for these, I think we can make these the subtle text color. So that looks pretty good. Cool. I think this screen has kind of come together. And then the final screen we're going to do is going to be this library book screen, downloaded book screen. And the first thing we want to do is have like a main book cover. You're going to see this come to life. So let's put the layout grid on. And let's just see if I can fix this. So crop, I don't want it to have any crop. I want it to be a square. Yeah, that's cool. And then we're going to get rid of these. And then just reduce it down in size a little bit. This is supposed to be like nice and centered. And then we're going to add a little bit of a drop shadow to it. So let's give a blur of like 100 pixels. We can keep it 0. I'd put Y as 0. And I'll just bring down the alpha a little bit. Get rid of the columns. Yeah, so you just want some subtle effect of shadow. I think that looks pretty good. And then we want to give this sense that you can swipe through your downloaded books, like horizontal swiping. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy out this here, and where are you? This one here. Let's put these like 140. Oi. Just trying to drag it, and this is going to be 140 as well. These should be 36 from the main one. So cool, you're kind of getting this effect that you can see you can swipe through. One other thing was we're going to add this icon to the right, like some sort of edit icon or more actions icon. And then let's grab this back icon as well. So it gives the user a way to get back to the library if they're a bit stuck. And then we want to have a title, and I think we're going to go ahead and use the heading 1 as well, because this is going to be the main element on the page. There's not going to be much else on this page, so let's call this one. And I've set off Siri, the keeper of lost things. I think that's too big. Let's try the heading 2 actually. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. So we'll give it 36 pixels, Alt D. You can just use the body medium. I've spelled medium so weird, I've just noticed. We use the text subtle color, and just write by Ruth Hogan. Don't know why I like saying that in an Aussie accent. It reminds me of the word bogan. I don't know if you guys know what a bogan is. I think it's like, in England we say the word chav. I think like bogan is like a Australian chav, which is pretty cool. Let's make sure these are both background subtle. I'm gonna go ahead here and get this background subtle as well. So cool, that looks pretty good. But another thing, we want to add the navigation menu. No, we don't. I don't think we are, because we're going to have something else. Alright. I think what would be cool is if you could see like where you are in the book. Like even though you're listening, you can read the text as well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this out. Maybe make this white. And then I'm going to find some copy from the book. I got a text excerpt saved somewhere. So let's just go ahead. Copy paste this. Wow, it's a real long boy. So, yeah. The professionalism is mind-boggling here. But, I'm going to turn on the columns as well. So what I'm going to do here is we've got this text excerpt, which is going to, so you're going to be able to read along kind of with where you're at in the audiobook. And we'll just place that, we'll center that off. 36 pixels seems to make sense. Maybe a bit tighter actually, let's give it like 24. But what I want to do that I think will be a cool effect is, because we want to really show the user which line is currently being narrated, we're going to use, instead of this standard style, we're going to use like a linear gradient, or add a point. I can't remember how you do this. Yeah. So here, we're going to add it, here, we're going to add it. We'll just bring down the edges. Yeah. So bring down the edges just by making them grey and reducing the alpha. So you can really keep the center, which is ostensibly the part of this being narrated, and make that much more visible than the rest of the text, which I think gives kind of a cool effect actually. Just want to make sure that is centered. Cool. And then we're going to go ahead and create like the audio controls. So again, there must be a keyboard shortcut for this, by the way. I must look like such a noob, like always using the side panel. So let's spread this full width. Let's give it 12 pixel border radius, and we'll use this background darker color that we again previously used. And here we're just going to want to apply the main controls that we're going to need for the audio application. So let's bring up Iconify again and hope that Material Design has these. So we want like a pause, legend, it's got a pause, and then what else do you want? You want like a back, and the opposite forward, so you can skip chapters, and then skip, maybe like a skip. This would be cool, so this is like forward 10. And then let's see if we can have like a back 10. Why does it have the forward but not the back? What's this called? Is it rewind? Yeah, rewind. Cool. Yeah, so that should be cool. So we've got 5 icons. I'm going to center out the play. Back and the forward. Let's make sure this is 24. Make this 24. And we're going to center this off and then just use the old distribute horizontally. Cool. That's not so bad. So we've got this little control panel. Still not totally happy with this. Might give it 24 pixels. No, keep it 12, but I might make it a bit taller. Let's give it like 64 to match the nav. Yeah, cool, that's a bit better. But I think overall the spacing is still a bit fucked, so I'm gonna bring this down. Let's take 88, and I'm gonna bring this content, I don't know, maybe this a little bit down. Yeah, 36, or at least 32. Yeah, it's not bad. And I'm gonna go ahead and save this shadow style as medium elevation, and then I'm going to apply it to this as well. Yeah, makes it pop a little bit more. And then for the footer, instead of the traditional nav menu, we're going to have like this navigation for the player that's going to show you exactly where you are in the book, so like a slider, and then it's also going to show you what chapter you're on and your position and the total duration of the audiobook, which I think would be a nice feature for this part of the app. Alright, so let's get this done. Let's get this sort of bottom navigation for the player done. So I'm going to, again, A tool, create a frame. Again, I think I'm going to fill it with this dark background color, background darker. And again, I'm just going to add a divider line in just to differentiate a little bit from this container from the rest of the content. And let's make this white first so I can see it. And we'll just position it at the top. And then I'm just going to use constraints to stick it to the top and make sure that it's scaling. And that just means that I can pull this, rearrange it, and it's going to be placed where I want it. It's just 1 pixel off. So cool. Yeah, and the main thing I want here is this like progress indicator. That's gonna, with a like slider that's gonna allow you to reposition where you are in the book. So I'm gonna go ahead and use A again. Drag the whole length here. We'll make it say like 6 pixels or something. And then we're going to go ahead and fill it out with the text cell. I'm just going to give it border radius to round it off so that it's not too square. We'll just center this off for now. And I just want to make sure that it fills the whole. Yeah, that's dope. And then I'm going to use the O tool. Oh, what was that? The oval tool, and create the actual slider itself. So let's add the slider here. And I think the indicator of the slider can be white. But let's give it a stroke of like maybe text subtle and 2 pixels. Let's position it somewhere. And then to differentiate, we want to differentiate between what's already been played and what's yet to be played. So I'm going to copy and paste this line and just drag it to where the slider is. And then we're going to go ahead and make it, we don't want the curve where we don't need it. And let's go ahead and make this primary. So let's just zoom out, let's see how that looks. Must be really frustrating to watch me mess up my keyboard. But don't worry too much. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty cool actually. But one thing I'm going to do, just to add a bit of depth to this, is I'm going to break this primary pink. I'm going to make it a linear gradient from left to right. Just bring this up, and then just bring in some darker shades here. Maybe that's too extreme actually. So I'll bring this up a bit. Just add a little bit of depth. Then we can actually save this. It's like gradient. Primary. Yeah. I might actually, I'll just bring this up a bit. I'm haven't had like a tiny bit of shadow here. I think even that, just the standard shadow that opens. Maybe I'll just thicken that up slightly. Let's give it like, let's get rid of the Y. Yeah, cool. Just to give it a bit more depth. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna copy and paste this one, which is body medium. And this is gonna say chapter 5 of 12. I'm gonna use the text small actually, because this looks a bit chunky. Let's just go ahead and wrap this all in a frame and call it progress indicator. Call this bottom player. This is the divider, I think. Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna position this maybe 24 from the bottom. This is gonna be 12 pixels from this. Then we're gonna go Command D and we'll just, this will be your current position indicator. And this will be the total duration indicator. So let's say like 3 hours. Both, so 3 hours, 31 minutes, 4 seconds. Cool, that looks good. Let's go ahead and align these. And let's set these actually to text subtle. I might actually make this white since it's quite important. And how much padding do we have here? We've got 18. I'm gonna go ahead and just bring this down so it's 16. What? How did that work? Yeah, that's 16 now. Why? 18. So this is 2 pixels higher than the others. I don't know what's going on, I'm so tripping right now. So these are all aligned, let's bring this down 2 pixels. Oh, it's because I'm not holding. These are all stuck to the top. Let's stick these to the bottom so that it doesn't reposition. So we've got 16, 12, and 20. Yeah, that's good. And that's looking pretty clean. I might give a little bit more space here. Let's give it like 36. Bring this down slightly, 36. But overall, this looks pretty dope, I think. One thing I might do is just add some shadow, like, yeah. No, I'm not gonna for now. This will do for now. So you can see we've just run through this pretty quickly. This is just a visual exploration. Might go and change this to heading 5 since I don't think we'll need anything smaller. Don't need something in the middle. But I'll go ahead and tidy this up and create some components. And we're already sort of getting like a strong concept for a design language that we can use, or some fundamental design language that we can use in this application, and we can go and scale up and build more screens and refine and build out more components. So this is kind of how I work sometimes when I'm just doing UI explorations. I hope that you enjoyed it a little bit and there was some value in it. Again, sorry I'm super busy at the moment, so I'm not putting as much planning into these as I probably should, but I hope it had some value. I'm also going to share the link to the Figma community file, so you can go ahead and duplicate it and play with it and see how everything's structured, and I'll tidy up all the layer names and stuff, make it nice and pretty so you can go ahead and start using the components and the styles and building your own screens. So awesome, thanks a lot. Hope you guys have a great day, evening.